So, hello, this is Thomas Park, and I wanted to take down a few notes on some thoughts I've been having about secularity in the age we live in and why I became more interested in a faith based view of reality, which is really something I was baptized when I was fairly young as a Christian. I've lived most of my life as a declared Christian. My devotion has been more and less intense throughout. It depends a lot, but this has always been a faith I've come back to in my mind with questions or for possible ways to deal with things, and other reasons, deep existential problems, etc. In terms of secularity, so according to what our culture presumably says, we live in a secular era. It's a bit more complicated. I was speaking with my sister. She pointed out that we do live in a country that's declared as under God, and that a lot of the culture in America is based on Christianity or some form of faith, Christian faith. But we're also very diverse here and accept different faiths, and it's a very complicated point. But generally, the age of secularity is said that that's what we're in, and that one of the things that we see is that the church is becoming seemingly less popular for some people. There's kind of been a lot of questions about what is faith, especially in my generation. A lot of the people I grew up with don't want the rules that churches seem to provide, and they don't like this idea of a group of people that don't allow others to participate, and they're often turned off by an idea that the church will kind of have a combination of helpful aspects and then some very limiting ones. And I think there's this whole other subject about that. But basically, the problem I'm having with secularity, though, is it limits us to things that we can know. It limits us to what we as human beings can perceive and make lists of or description of. And within that set, there's even a smaller one. Secularity really is seems to be a kind of a lack of faith in anything mystical. We can know what we can observe, like science would do. There's nothing better than science than to observe something and really clearly explain it, portray it, and describe it, maybe even so well that a person could duplicate it. But does science actually explain the real root cause of things? Would it predict things that we haven't seen? Science is very good for this kind of descriptive reaction once we perceive something, and for really understanding it from a certain perspective, universal point. But the whole thing just leaves me feeling a little bit empty when it comes to this point, which seems to be that people would have to find if there's something other than what I could know that I perceive. If I perceive experiences that make me sense an unknown, if I even perceive that there might be some value or concern or maybe love or something powerful behind things I can't understand, then to go to this point of departure from things I know, from the world of reason and secularity, I have to say that I believe in things that I can only really have faith in and that I cannot prove. I would maintain that a lot of people every day demonstrate a lot of faith in other people, in the world around them, and in themselves, but may not put it that way. And so that's kind of my point about pushing humanism or secularity really hard, is it seems to be nice to liberate people so they can have this objective point of view and use facts and describe discrete and observable realities. But when it comes to this point of can they go from there and have a language and reference and understanding of other aspects they might experience that they can't explain as well, anything like dreams, hopes, the internal private life people have, things that may happen to them that they have a hard time to explain. Why do they react certain ways to love or to experiences of awe or surprise? Really reflecting back on people, and how mysterious it is that we sometimes can perceive or react to things, and the odd value we have in one another that we grieve so when we lose a parent or a friend, even though at that point they're presumably feeling no pain. We're weird like the elephants that circle around the dead elephant. We mourn the passing of someone. We acknowledge their value beyond what we'd have to. These are very odd characteristics for a creature that can only be described, a species, as based on facts and materiality. And what I'm saying isn't so much to try to lecture or limit people, it's to say for me it was more, okay, I can grant you that, Neil deGrasse Tyson, I can see about the beauty of the world around us. If I come to a point where I can't explain something and I still perceive it, I may go ahead and take that leap of faith too, and say in addition, I feel other things about people, whether you might say I'm just not being precise enough about how I feel, or if I refuse to pin those feelings down by facts or things that people have already known. We could debate, but I think that that's the kind of experience and that kind of impression that's so powerful that keeps pushing me away from saying I can know things in entirety and only deal in a world of things I know. So those are just a few thoughts on secularity and how it's both helpful but also limiting. And that's coming from someone who was a real geek in high school and very much about math and science and the world of things and ideas around us, but I've come to see things differently as I've gotten older. So, all right, thanks a lot for now.